Let's get into it now. A spoiler-free movie review of Captain America: Brave New World. I feel like Jim Brewer's character in Half Baked, where he's like, "I'm not gonna do what everybody thinks I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna freak out." With any Marvel movie, the hate is gonna be real right now, and I try to avoid any other reviews going into any movie just because I don't want to be influenced. With this one, it was hard to do. It was everywhere. And whenever a Marvel movie comes out now, or even a DC movie, any superhero movie, unless it's top tier, it's going to get ripped to shreds. And you always have to kind of look through all the things that people are saying. And are people really mad because the movie is bad? Or are people just looking for that hate, for that rage clickbait? I'm here to tell you, I am not in any way going to rage bait in this review. I'm going to give you my fair, honest opinion as a Marvel fan. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see behind me all of the influence I have with every review that I do. I have an Incredible Hulk comic right next to me. I have the first appearance of Wolverine in a Hulk comic right here behind me. I am a huge fan of the Incredible Hulk, and his portrayal on the big screen just hasn't been up to expectation. And this movie was using a lot of the Red Hulk in its marketing. If you look at the poster, the first teaser we got is the Red Hulk hand holding the Captain America shield. Just now, I just got home from the gym after watching this movie, and I'm still seeing the trailer, and that's all embedded in there. It is Harrison Ford turning into the Red Hulk, fighting Sam Wilson, and this is what that is. It is Sam Wilson's introduction as a lead in the MCU. Going into this, I love what Anthony Mackie had to say. In the press tour on a red carpet, somebody asked him, and he said, "This feels amazing to me because it is the first time audiences are going to see my movie. Not just his first movie in the MCU, but him as an actor. That is a big deal." As I was rooting for Anthony Mackie, as I was rooting for the Incredible Hulk, Red Hulk in this, there were a lot of problems. There were a lot of things that this movie drew influence from and drew inspiration from that was kind of like picking off the good pieces of something you burned in the oven. Like, oh no, I can still manage it. I can still make a meal out of this. Let me pick off some things from 2008's Incredible Hulk, which I love. But a lot of people hate that movie. I will defend that movie as being a great Marvel movie, but I don't think you should be going back to that movie to pick apart the pieces from it to sell your new Captain America. That's what they did. You have Thunderbolt Ross from that movie. Now the actor who played him in that original movie has passed away, so they recast him with Harrison Ford. There's a lot of disconnect there. Because in order to get his whole story arc, you have to know that movie. Otherwise, they don't really do a good job in selling you what is going on with his character. And not only that, they go to one of the worst Marvel movies of all time. I would say the worst ever, The Eternals. And they pick apart the little piece that we were all asking about the end of the Eternals. It's like this big white thing in the middle of the ocean, and then we haven't talked about it since. You know what? Let's pull apart that little bird piece and put it in this movie. And what is going on here? It is still Sam Wilson struggling with, can I be Captain America without have taken the serum? Do I have what it takes? The themes we already kind of discussed and went over in the Disney Plus show are still at the forefront of this movie, which I found to be weird. We've already been there. I just want to see you being Captain America. I don't want to see you questioning it anymore. Like, just put on the suit and do the thing, because that is the hero we need. The other really hard part about getting over the marketing of this movie in that trailer, it is Thunderbolt Ross telling him, "I want you to rebuild the Avengers." And he's like, all right, let's rebuild the Avengers. It's supposed to be them working together. Then something goes down where his inner circle has been compromised, and all of a sudden somebody tries to kill the president, and now he doesn't see eye to eye with Captain America anymore. So doing the Captain America thing, he wants to do what is right, even though the U.S. government doesn't want him a part of this. He is still going to lead this investigation and try to figure out who is pulling the strings here, who was behind this attack, and who is trying to stop Thunderbolt Ross's plan of signing this treaty to make him look like a good president. That is essentially the plot of this movie. I won't get into any other details because I don't want to reveal too much about what exactly happens, but there was so little action in this movie that it made it hard to watch. And not only that, the action it was very slow. The choreography just isn't there. The Captain America movies, out of all the MCU movies, always had the best action. That was their bread and butter. Quick, fast-paced action, amazing fights, shootouts, chases. That is what I went to Captain America for. Think back to Chris Evans running barefoot down the street. Those are the moments I think about. Not only were they great superhero movies, but they were great crime thrillers. And the biggest problem I had with Brave New World is it's just uninteresting. It doesn't get your heart rate up. There's no Marvel magic. It's not a bad movie. It's just, why is this happening right now? Why are we trying to rehash all this old stuff? And why don't I believe in Sam Wilson as a superhero? And I found myself to be entertained for the most part, but nothing really exciting happened. And when you think about it, was like the Captain America shield is a bigger star than Anthony Mackie is right now as Captain America. So much so that I found myself just questioning all these minor details because of how uninteresting the plotline was. It was not only cliched for a Marvel movie, it was just riddled with cliches from every spy thriller that has come out in the last 5 years. And all of the superhero elements were just kind of sprinkled in there. And everything that they teased in the trailer, all the marketing, not only was that pushed all the way to the third act, a lot of it was the last 10 minutes before the 10-minute epilogue. That was it. That's all you got. So it kind of felt like a bait and switch. And it was Marvel, to me, felt like they knew what they had. They knew they didn't have a whole lot, so let's sell what is coming at the end of it and just get the butts in the seats. And that's what they did. They made $100 million over President's Day weekend. They got the butts in the seats. They will break even on this movie, probably, and it will do what it needs to do to advance the MCU right now. But it's just leaving a lot of people feeling kind of underwhelmed. And I think that is what has led to such poor reviews from audiences. Again, it's not that it's all out terrible. It's just that we've come to expect a lot from the MCU. We've come to expect a nice tailored suit, and what we got out of this movie was something straight off the rack at Zara's. And if we have to keep going back talking about that the visual effects aren't there, what are we doing here? This movie costs $200 million plus, but Godzilla Minus One, with a budget of about $15 million, had much better action sequences at sea than this movie did. It was more believable. So they need to just find a different way to make these movies look more appealing. That should be basic. That should be day one things. We should not be questioning a movie with this budget of it having sus CGI anymore. And there was a scene in particular that happened towards the end of the movie where you see Harrison Ford and you see Sam Wilson standing there, and it just looked like a big green or blue screen that they were looking at. It was like two-dimensional, no depth whatsoever, and it makes the scenes just not connect. There's nothing there. You don't get a performance out of them because they're just obviously standing in front of this blue or green screen, and there's no connection. There's no emotion. And a movie like this needs that. I never felt invested in Sam's story. I never believed him as Captain America. At times, I felt I could probably beat him up, and I can't beat up many people. I was so uninterested with the plot. At a certain point, I found myself questioning what shoes he was wearing. I was so upset about the shoes Sam Wilson was wearing that I was like, Captain America wouldn't wear those shoes, those elevated, cool, expensive sneakers. Like, he wouldn't wear those. He would always be ready to go have to chase somebody down if he needed to. He couldn't do that in that bomber jacket and those shoes. It is unbelievable to me. And his character is so reliant on the technology of the suit. And maybe that's another thing I'm kind of getting tired of in the MCU, is the Stark influence that all the suits have this technology where they don't have superpowers, they have super technology. All the people with superpowers have kind of gone on. We don't have those people anymore. It almost feels like all the seniors have graduated, and now we're left with that freshman class that are still trying to push this narrative, but they're still talking about their ex, still talking about the person who saved the world, and questioning whether or not they can do that. Just forget about your ex, stop talking about them, and move on, and show me why you can save the world. The question comes down to, do you need superpowers to be a hero? That is what this movie is trying to say. Did we need a 2-hour movie to say that? I don't think so. I think we got that in the series before this. There's nothing really brave. There's nothing new about Brave New World. It just feels like a bunch of rehashed plot lines slapped together. At times, it feels like I was watching one of the parody movies that they do on The Boys, the TV show, whenever they're making their superhero movies. It kind of felt like watching one of those. We still have a lot of villain problems. This entire movie just kind of felt like a 2-hour post-credit scene. If you look at kind of the pattern that we have in the MCU, it's the MCU is back, Deadpool and Wolverine. Next movie comes out, Brave New World. The MCU is dead. But then before this, the trailer for Fantastic Four played, and we're going to say the same thing again. The MCU is back. So maybe they're just doing this pattern of good movie, mediocre movie, good movie, mediocre movie. And I think it's just that my standards and all of our standards have become so high, and expecting every movie to be great, expecting every movie to be the level of the Avengers. With all that said, again, I was entertained enough, but I was also irritated a little bit at what this movie could have been. Am I excited to see more of Captain America? Not really. Not really at all. It was more of a Thunderbolt Ross movie than it was a Captain America movie. I think if they can get that down right, give Sam some confidence now, maybe they could do it in a second movie. But for Captain America Brave New World, I give it 3 out of 5 shields.